Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, business positioning strategist, and author, Sean Douglas. This show is currently heard in over 70 countries, such as the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, and all across Europe. So I want to thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformation. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing. We highlight that transformational moment that changed our lives and how we use this to then transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us live right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network Tuesday through Friday, and join us in our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio community, where you can chat with the guests. I ask that you subscribe and leave us a rating and review on how well we are doing. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, or now it's called Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Player FM, Radio Public, Overcast, CastBox, the Himalaya app, and the Google Play Music app, or wherever you're comfortable listening to podcasts. On the show are entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, coaches, podcasters, authors, amazing people who are impacting the world around them, and my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that I bring on the show during our live broadcast, you can call us up at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And with that, please help me welcome to the show my guest today, Amanda Nachman. Amanda, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hey, Sean. Thanks for having me.
I am super pumped that we could do this, spend some time together, and that everything is working like it should.
Me too.
Because, cutting down to the minute here.
I know, that countdown you have on your site is quite scary.
Well, it's scarier on this end when something's not working. You're like, oh, my God, I'm going to go live, and something's not working. So, but here we are. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're going to share with us today and what you have done so far leading up to this moment with college students. Because I think that like I personally have mixed feelings about the college life, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, but you are doing amazing, amazing work inside the college market and in other places, and I'm looking forward to talking about today. So if you're ready, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this.
Outstanding. So the title of this episode is Find Your Passion Career with podcaster and speaker Amanda Nachman. Amanda empowers young professionals as a career fulfillment speaker, author of the upcoming book Find Your Passion Career, and founder and CEO of College Magazine, the trusted guide to college, reaching 9 million readers worldwide or nationwide. Amanda has developed a career strategy by coaching thousands of college students. Her graduates have gone on to careers at National Geographic, Random House, NBC, Vox, and more. She also hosts the Find Your Passion Career podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you want a career you love, go to Amanda's site at findyourpassioncareer.com. Findyourpassioncareer.com and sign up to get her free 5 steps to unlocking your passion. Her website is findyourpassioncareer.com. Her podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and her Facebook community are all right there in the show notes, ready for you to click and join her on her mission. So my first question for you is, what is your why? What is your deep why for what you do?
Yeah. Well, so Sean, I've been running College Magazine for over a decade, about 12 years now. And I've worked with over a thousand college students at this point. And my why comes from the experience that I've had in working with them and seeing them all go through that same moment, which is when they are about to approach graduation, or they graduate, or after graduation and they're in that first job. And I see this over and over and over again. I see them face the rejection of the 1% companies and start to doubt themselves, doubt that they are qualified, doubt that they have anything to offer, doubt that they are the right fit. And then they settle for a job that they don't love, that doesn't bring them any fulfillment, where they don't feel that they're really adding the value that they could potentially be adding. And I think it's a shame, because I just think that there are so many resources out there for them to help them get out of this vicious cycle. What I found myself doing was coaching these students and helping them just see that there is something out there for them, that they are qualified, and that they can have a career that they love if they take these steps. And that's where the message came from. You know, if you are creating intentional experiences for yourself, well, first, if you unlock your passion, if you're making courageous connections and you're speaking your passion, that's how you connect to a career that you love, and you can do something that is fulfilling. And I think it's so important, because I myself, I've been on this journey. I've been in a career I didn't love. I've felt that way. And today it's not the case. I love what I do. And because of that, you know, I get in the zone. I wake up every morning. I get to make an impact on the world and help students and help young professionals. And that is something that I believe has a ripple effect. And I get to see my graduates go off to incredible careers at, like you said, National Geographic, Random House, USA Today, NBC, and they come back and they share their stories with our current students. And to me, when you get to make that impact, when you're doing something that's fulfilling, there's a ripple effect. It's an exponential effect on the world. Imagine if we were all doing something that we loved.
Oh, 100%. People would be a lot happier. They wouldn't be depressed, stressed out, full of anxiety and worry. And absolutely.
Yeah, your career
something.
affects all facets of your life.
Yeah, 100%. You nailed something that, right off the bat, is my number one complaint with college. And it's that these kids are taught. I don't teach my kids this, but kids are taught that you get great grades in high school, and you do well on these tests, and you do well, and you volunteer, and you get your college, application, and you got to fill it with all this awesome stuff, and then you go through 4 years of stress and partying, and it's an experience. Everybody's like, man, you got to live that college experience, right? But the one thing, after those 4 years, 63% of college graduates are not currently working in the field of their college degree. 63%. And now the student debt is at over almost $1 trillion of student debt. So now we've got these kids that are hoping and begging and praying that they get the job in their degree, which sometimes they don't. And then they're stuck with the debt. My cousin has just graduated high school with a business degree, and he's not even using his business degree. He's a diesel mechanic. I was like, what the heck? He's like, I couldn't find a job. I'm like, that sucks. But he could only find one as a diesel mechanic. He just graduated college a year ago.
Yeah, I would ask him, how many people has he reached out to in his desired field?
Probably not a whole lot.
Right. How often do we stop at just maybe reaching out to even one or two people?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't think it's not the fault of the college. To me, it comes down to the individual, and the individual to hit the pause button on going through the motions and say, I'm going to get intentional about my career. And taking those steps. And so, your cousin, for example, was he building upon his degree with intentional experiences? Was he interning? Was he volunteering? Did he have a side hustle?
Oh, no, I doubt it. No.
Does he have a mentor?
Well, he was a baseball player. He was a baseball player. So he did baseball. He went to college for baseball. Like he was the athlete, the student athlete, right? So he majored in something, but really like it was the baseball.
He majored in baseball?
Well, no, I mean he played. He played. I don't know.
I got you.
Like,
I gotcha.
I have no idea. Like Alabama football players. I mean, what do they do? Like, I mean, they're not always like on the field. I mean, what are they doing the other time?
Student athletes have a very tough, have an incredible challenge ahead of them because they're not only a student, but they're also this athlete, and that's very demanding. Yeah. But I do believe that the student athletic departments prepare those students to see that they need to be more intentional about their career, and that they need to be taking those steps. Or is the student that student himself or herself taking that moment though to embrace those resources? To realize that they have to be taking action on their career, that things aren't going to just come their way unless they are taking action. So I don't believe that, finding your passion career is all about like The Secret where you're like, I love this thing, right? I'm passionate about writing and therefore, this book will manifest, right? I do believe that there's intentional action you have to take. And then the next key is courageous connections. You've got to connect. And I'm not saying you've got to connect to celebrities or the top people in your field that you know off the top of your head. You've got to connect at the bottom. Connect with someone that's one step ahead of you, that's in that entry-level position, that's like, hey, I would like to do what they're doing. And reach out to them and say, can I have 15 minutes of your time to hear about your career journey? I mean, people love to talk about themselves. People are going to say yes to that.
Oh, yeah. And absolutely. I agree with you.
And that's what the intentional career is all about. That's what Find Your Passion career is all about. It's about identifying, unlocking your passion, then taking action, making those connections. This is how it all works. People think it's just, and students, I feel, they think the career journey is you look for job posts. And that on that day you're looking for that job job is going to miraculously have a post and be the perfect fit for you and not competitive whatsoever.
Oh, and what happens 100%.
I mean, I think that 75% of jobs are not even published. So why aren't we spending 75% of our time networking? Yeah.
And that's really the key to it. I love networking. I love collaborating. All of that. Is there a way that
work for students?
Yeah. Well, so is there a way that colleges figure out, and I know because I just know that the military does this. Mm-hmm. Does the colleges figure out how many jobs are available? Let's say you're going to be a diesel mechanic. Like you're going to school to be a diesel mechanic. And so our colleges or a photographer or whatever, our colleges looking at, whether you're a veterinarian or whatever you're going to, a nurse or whatever, are they letting kids come to college to get these degrees without knowing if they're flooding the market for these degrees? Or do the colleges go, you know what? There is a overage of RNs, of pediatric nurses. There's a flood of these. You should pick a different career choice for now, and maybe or are they saying, "Oh, come on in"? It doesn't matter if there's like 1,000 people looking for this one job and there's only 10 spots. Does that make? Because the military, they won't let you join the military if this job's already taken, which I think is a smarter way to do it.
I think there's two ways of looking at it, right? If you graduate from high school and you're like, I know I want to go into a specific trade and I'm going to follow that direction, that trade should be responsible for informing that student. If you're going to a liberal arts college or just a 4-year university, it's not as much about this degree equals this specific career. And that's why I think Find Your Passion career, that's my message really, is that the path is very nonlinear. And you have to take these experiences and connect them to the career that you want. It's not that it's this straight line. That whereas a trade, for example, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to be a veterinarian. So you're going to go to veterinarian school, right? You're going to take the prereqs and you're going to follow that path. That's very linear, but oftentimes linear is very competitive. I think what many students are out there doing and where they're floundering is that they're in, maybe they're an English major or a business major. Let's say you have a major in marketing and you're like, I have this degree in marketing and now I want a marketing job. That's really general. When did you got to hit the pause button, right? I come back to that. You've got to take that moment where you say, what is it that I really care about? What do I love to do? And connecting those pieces. So I think the equation for a passion career is when your interests, strengths, and values align and come together to a career that you like. So it's your interests where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I have this marketing degree, but I'm really interested in the arts, right? I care about theater, and you really like relish your days in being in your theater, and in your free time, you're a part of your community theater, or you are a part of the theater club on your campus, right? And then your strengths are maybe that you're really great at coming up with ads, marketing materials, brochures, and maybe your values are, again, you value the arts, it all aligns, or you value work-life balance or integrity, right? And now you want to take all of that and connect it to a potential career. So you need to find people out there that are in that type of career. So I love to give this example of someone that does have this kind of passion profile, for example. And I ask people, I'm like, what does this person do, right? They have a marketing degree and they're passionate about the arts. And oftentimes they're kind of stuck. And I give an example of someone I know who works for an organization. She's a VP of marketing now at Todaytix. And, not many people, I mean, I don't know, are you familiar with Todaytix?
I have never heard of it.
and that's totally okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but
I'm being completely honest,
they're a niche app, right? They're the app for helping connect you to last minute Broadway tickets. I mean, I love what they do because I'm a big theater fan and I love Broadway. So if you want like last minute accessible tickets, and they're all like about fun and being quick and easy for getting these tickets, you can use their app, right? So, that's a career that most students wouldn't have thought of even existed for them. But it's until you start connecting with people that are, one or two steps out of college, or even if you're a young professional already in a current job, it's connecting with people that are in other positions or in companies you haven't heard of. That's when you start to see these opportunities open and these doors open for you. Because a lot of times it's just that we don't realize what's out there for us.
This is true. When I graduated high school, I was not the nicest dude in the world. I got my fair share of fights, and I was like, the anti-bully. Like, I looked for reasons to, do good or whatever, but I ended up doing stupid stuff, at the same time, like, I don't know. So, I mean, I grew up playing hockey. I was on every hockey team you could think of. After high school, I even played a little semi-pro. And then, I played baseball my whole life. I was going to be the athlete. Like, my family's all, Detroit Tigers and baseball and, hockey and football and all that stuff, all sports. The problem was I graduated high school with a 1.8. And I had no aspirations of going to college, zero, because I knew that I never wanted to work for somebody. And that was my driving factor of not working for somebody. If I had to go to college, I would definitely go get a business management degree and use that to be an entrepreneur, or use something like, if you want to be, let's say that you want to own your own business as a photographer, you should probably go to school and go to college for photography. Like why wouldn't you? That would make a whole lot of sense. So I don't think college is so bad to where, oh my God, like, avoid it like the plague. I tell everybody, I'm like, look, man, college is what it is. I'd even use the word scam sometimes, because 63% of people are not using their degrees, and you just busted that myth all to hell. How many people did you reach out to? are you passionate about that career, or is it something that you think you want to follow, but you haven't really done that much research? Like the people who I think are getting the jobs are the ones that are putting the time and effort in school as they are in finding their career.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you're talking to the publisher of College Magazine. So, like, I eat, sleep, and breathe the college experience.
Right?
I think it is so important
Right.
and enriching. And I think it's a wonderful bubble in a good way it's like a mini world, right? Where you get to explore and test your passions and gain experiences and be a leader, right? You're not in a pond of people who are in their 50s and 60s. You can be the president
Right.
of a club. You can get published in your literary magazine. You're not in this massive world pond yet. You get to really make an impact at that level and the college level, while also getting access to world-class information from the experts, from the professors, from people that eat, sleep, and breathe those topics. So you can dive deeper into a topic, and you can gain, I think, what are some of the most invaluable experiences, which are really the writing and analytical and critical thinking skills that is just not as you're just not as developed in high school to get all that. I do think the college experience is so important for all of that. And there is a career center. Are students opening those doors? Are they going to the career center? Are they taking that initiative and then following up? Because the career center, they're exceptional. They connect students to alumni. So like they're like, hey, we're going to help you get your foot in the door with all these alumni. They set up the career fairs, but the students have to go. They have to go.
That's true.
And they have to come prepared and be ready to talk. And that's another thing. So when I talk about this in my book and I talk about when I give my talk about Find Your Passion Career, it's like, what do you talk about? You've got to talk about, once you've identified your passion, you've got to share it with the world. And some may say it's kind of braggy, right? But it's really just, I don't know, have you ever talked about something that you love? Like if you talked
Every
about
day.
a skill that you love.
4 times a day. On
talk
all my
about
social
your
media
business.
posts.
It's not bragging because it's just something you care so deeply about. It comes naturally to you. So once you can identify what you really enjoy, what you love, what you care about, you're so much more likely to be able to then speak your passion. And when you're able to speak your passion, people listen in, and people lean in to that, and they want to help you. And if they have a similar passion, they're going to want to connect you with other people, and that's how a career happens. It's really a journey.
That. I love it. What I really want to talk about you for a second. What was the transformational moment that put you on the path to what you're doing today?
I'm going to be honest. It wasn't 100% altruistic at the time. It was a little selfish. If I had to start from the very beginning, I was working back 12 years ago at a home and design magazine, interning as a college student, writing an article about doorknobs for the entire summer. Okay. Riveting, right?
Very interesting. Yeah, I was like,
luxury doorknobs. And so selfishly, I wanted to write about a topic I cared about. And I wanted to write about the college experience. And then that's what got me thinking and more curious about it. And I'm like, I wonder if there is a guide for college students. And I thought I would have really liked to have had a guide for college students when I started college. Like, I wish I had had that guide. And that was where the idea came from for College Magazine. And from there, I realized, imagine how many people this could help in helping college students be successful. So that was the story for College Magazine. And then the story for Find Your Passion Career, which is my speaking, the podcast, the book, that really came from, today College Magazine is online and I work on the computer a lot. And I had a moment where I hit the pause button in my own life and said, what do I enjoy the most? What do I really love? What could I do for hours on end where I light up inside? And that's connecting with students and young professionals, helping young people. I love doing that. And so I said, okay, I'm going to make this my new mission, which is to share this message, because I've had these moments with my own students, and it's amazing to see that aha, to help them connect the dots. And they get to see that this career journey is not so isolating, but instead there's a community. that's there for you, that wants to help you.
Awesome. I think we need to do as much as we can for the students. I look back, at my time in the military and going to the, Air Force Community College and all that stuff and taking classes, where I could and all that. And I really haven't pushed myself in the academia like I could have. To me, the academia is like YouTube University. Like anything I want to know, I just go to YouTube. But you can't put that on an application somewhere and be like, oh, I learned everything from YouTube.
And that works for you too. Like you're really self-motivated. Some people need that physical accountability. They need to show up somewhere. Whereas other people, like they can get all their work done at home, no problem.
Yeah, but I've also wanted to collaborate with people. Actually, one speaking engagement, they asked me to speak, and I literally had the credentials, except for, do I have a degree? I'm like, well, no, I don't have a bachelor's or a master's degree in that. And they're like, oh, well, we're really looking for someone. I was like, really? And then everybody there in the room are all degree holders. Like every single person there, like would have a degree at a minimum of a bachelor's. I'm like, oh, geez. So like, yeah, we really, really want someone to be, on their level. I'm like, oh, and it's the first time I've ever really like kind of felt sorry for myself. I'm like, man, if I wouldn't have screwed around, if I'd have taken this more serious, but then there's opportunities where, that doesn't matter. So, I see it from both ways. I see it where the degree matters, and that holds a different prestige than someone who has spent 5 or 10 years in a career. Like you're never going to go farther than where your credentials and knowledge and everything can take you. And I know people that have been in the same career for 20 years. If they would have got that degree, they would have been way higher. They would have been, a manager of some kind or gotten more pay. Because they don't have that degree, they're stuck and they plateaued. And that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it's not so much having that degree or the university name on your resume as it's so much as what did you do with that? What kind of knowledge did you get from that? What kind of experiences did you create on that campus? What kind of connections did you make? What kind of network did you build? And how are you going to connect all that into your career? And same happens when you're in the foot of your career, when you have your foot in the door and you're in that first job or that second job. What are you doing there? How are you elevating your current position? How are you maximizing your experience there? How are you continuing to grow your network and to find mentors and to check in with them? Take advantage of the resources around you. These are skills that can be used college or no college. I think that there's so many paths that can be taken to doing what you love and having a fulfilling career. And it really is just starting to point yourself in that direction. And let's say you're doing a job right now that you're like, your arms are crossed, like listening to this, and you're like, I hate what I do. Like I go into work begrudgingly. I don't love what I do, right? Well, it doesn't mean you need to quit your job today and go find whatever that is, but instead hit that pause button, identify what it is that you do love, right? Ask yourself those questions. What makes me light up inside? What could I do for hours on end and not even know the time is passing? If it's video games, that's fine. What are some things that you could be doing to build upon that love? Could you create your own local club, a meetup for video gamers, right? Could you be part of an organization that helps youth avoid gangs by playing video games? I'm just putting that out there. I don't know exactly what exists, but it's how can you build intentional experiences off of what it is that you care about? It doesn't have to be your job, but now you're starting to create evidence and a story and build upon your own experiences so that all comes together for when you do want to make those connections and you are speaking your passion, you can now start connecting that to a career.
And I 100% agree. I think clubs and doing things together speaks to the mental health that students, because I know they're in the books, they're doing these things. over and over and over again, as far as grades and testing and studying, and they just need a break, and it seems to be like joining the fraternity or the sorority or those type of things. They need an outlet. So let's talk about the mental health of students. Have you seen or worried, or what are schools doing to foster positive mental health for students that maybe they floundered through high school, maybe they just happen to be like a B student or whatever, and they're going whatever college. Now they're in college, and now they don't have mom and dad helping them. They don't have that support structure. They're on their own. Let's talk about the mental health of students who are in that position. What's out there for them to take advantage of?
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, I want to say you brought up a great point about how college is a moment where you are no longer you may not be under the roof of your parents. You're kind of on your own. You're getting that first taste of independence. It's a great way to start forming your own opinions, independent of those original connections of your family household. You can decide what it is that you value and care about, what causes that you're most passionate about. You really start to identify yourself as an individual, not as much of exactly what the family unit felt or thought. And some people discover that in high school, but I think college does present a great opportunity for that. In terms of mental health, I'm not a mental health professional. At College Magazine, though, what I have seen is that students are more open to speaking about anxiety or depression or mental challenges that they're dealing with, and we see it come up in their articles. They write personal stories, or they'll write a piece about resources on their campus for these situations. And I just think that there's a lot more receptiveness to students writing about these topics and being vulnerable and sharing these experiences. And that makes me really proud to know that I'm able to have College Magazine as this platform where students can share this information and the reader can know, hey, I'm not alone.
Right. And I think that's very, very, very important. What I don't like is the kids that, like I said, floundered, or maybe I saw something the other day, something about valedictorians, like where are they now? Are they succeeding? Are they failing or whatever? Like where's the high school valedictorian, like the prom queen and king, like where are they now? Because everybody wanted to be that person. But I think it's so important that the person who was the popular kid, the jock, the, any label you want to put on somebody, the ones that succeeded, who find themselves in a situation where they're not succeeding, how are they handling it? And that was one of the things that with my sister, like she was the cheerleader, she was the popular girl, she was and she spent maybe a year and a half in college, dropped out, couldn't do it, couldn't focus. There was so many things. I think she just wanted to party, whatever. She says, no, the school's hard. I'm like, cool. But what are we doing now? Like, what are we going to do now? So did the community college for a while, didn't give up on college, then did that and started getting degrees and, and what have you. But I worry about the kids that were one way in high school thinking that, well, I'm going to come dominate this too. I dominated high school. Everybody loved me. Everybody, and then in college, they're like, I don't care. I don't give a crap about you. Because everybody's focused on themselves. Or am I way off?
It makes me think of Mindy Kaling's book where she says, like, you don't want to peak in high school because, and I don't think there's necessarily that trend. I think though, of course, if we're going to have all eyes on these people, that's a lot of pressure.
It is.
I think what college and the real world does though, is it opens up the pond, right? So high school is very insular. And so it's easier to be recognized for something that may not be your true interest, strengths, and values, but could be something just like a little bit silly or a little bit, some things I think are important. Obviously, like you could be recognized for being someone that just is a loyal friend, is a great person.
Yeah.
That people, they do find you most popular for these things, but something like, most beautiful or great eyes, that's, I don't know if that's going to really have a connection to your success in your college career and your future career. I think what it comes down to is really, giving yourself that time to mature in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But really taking that time, I think, especially for young people, we're so inundated, all of us, with technology and just there's so much that we could be doing and consuming and writing and seeing and doing all the time, that how often are we really, like, aside from a shower, taking more than 20 minutes to just be and reflect and ask ourselves, what do I want?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a 16-year-old, and I tell him, I was like, dude, you got to figure this out, man. Get a starting point. Like, you don't have to have your whole life figured out right now. You don't have to have your whole life figured out at 25 or even 35, but you got to start somewhere. And so, of course, he's all about, it's like he's all about video games. He's all about that. It's like, oh, I could be on Twitch and then I can get paid this way. And I'm like, 1% of people make thousands or millions on, video games, Twitch. I could be a beta tester. I was like, well, then contact Blizzard and contact EA Sports and start contacting these people. Like, be so good at Fortnite or whatever that they give you, like, your own character who's named after you. Like, you need to be that good. He's like, well, I got to play a lot, but you want me to play? I'm like, well, you got things to do around the house.
In quite the pickle there.
I did. But as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking of ways, right off the bat. I was like, what you should do is go host your own tournament and charge people, bring your systems, supply the Wi-Fi, whatever, or get enough money to buy a couple systems, and then, get like a tournament going, and then you host the tournament, you collect the money, and
then
you just keep doing that. Like,
I totally get where you're coming from, right? When we see the answer, we see the steps that they need to be taking. Those are probably really big steps for someone of, that is that young, that hasn't taken those smaller steps before that.
He just stares at me.
Right? Like, has he considered starting a club at his school? Right? Has he connected with other people? I loved what you said, though, about Blizzard Entertainment. They do have an internship program. They do have employees there that would be probably happy to tell him their career journey. Could he start making those connections now? Absolutely. Yeah. And what does that take? It takes 10 minutes of a LinkedIn message. And maybe you're like, okay, I don't have a LinkedIn. Okay, that's another, 20 minutes of creating your first LinkedIn.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
There's so many opportunities to connect out there, and it's really just making sure that it all comes back to what it is that you want, because when it does, that will fuel you to do those things, to take those steps.
And so that's what fueled you, I'm assuming, with your passion and purpose of this magazine. And I know we talked beforehand, but I love the story that you told. It made me laugh. I could resonate with it because I used to have a paper route. Like, when I was a kid trying to make money, I'm like, what am I going to do with my life, So talk about how did you get that started? Because 9 million readers, that's incredible. That's amazing for anybody to get 9 million readers on anything, even with social media. But to get a college student to actually read something other than their phone or an email, or, you know what I mean? I think it's incredible what you're doing. And College Magazine is available nationwide, 9 million readers. I think it's absolutely amazing. So talk about that. How'd you get it started, and how'd you reach 9 million?
Yeah, it didn't happen overnight, that's for sure. I was a college student with this idea for a magazine, and I actually held on to the idea for a little bit in my mind. And I'm sure there's other people out there that can relate. Like, they think they have a really good idea, but they're just not confident enough to share it. I can tell you, though, that when I started talking about it, when I started speaking this passion, this idea that I had, that's when things started to really happen. Because then I started hearing the responses from people being like, oh, that would be a really cool magazine. I wish that I'd had something like that. I could start to see it when I could see people's response.
Yeah.
So I flyed around my campus saying, "Come write for College Magazine," this publication that didn't exist, and put flyers around my campus, and students showed up to write for it. So
wow.
yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was in my student union there were about 12, 13 kids there, and I'm like, okay, well now and it wasn't just okay, they showed up and now we're going to write this magazine. I needed them to believe that I was going to deliver upon this promise, that I was going to make this magazine. And so that's how much I cared about it. I was really able to get that across. So everyone I talked to about this magazine, like they could feel it. They knew how much I cared about it, how much I wish that I'd had this guide when I was in college, how much I wanted to help students be successful, and, just how important this was. And so students took article assignments. We made a mock-up. I printed a mock-up from Kinko's. I went around to the local businesses and tried to sell ads. And let me tell you what the first probably 50 companies said to me. Big, fat no.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just heard no after no, but I cared so much about this magazine. Like I had this like little Kinko's printout that I really wanted to make it happen. I just kept going. And it just brings me to like another thought about like grit and persistence. It's like, what's the difference between someone that takes that no and just says, okay, this is over, and someone that says, I'm going to keep going?
Yeah.
To me, the difference is the person that does keep going. And when they get the yes, that's the difference. You just actually have to keep going, because when you do get that yes, that changes everything. And it did. One of the restaurants was a Santa Fe Cafe. This was back in 2007 at University of Maryland. Said, we'd love to advertise in your magazine. We'll buy the inside cover and the back page. Who do we make the check out to? And I'm like, College Magazine LLC. The next day, I had to go and open up a bank account.
Oops. I should probably figure out how I'm going to get paid. Like, oops.
I mean, I was just figuring it out as I went, because I wanted to create it so badly. I didn't know all the answers, but I just kept taking a step in that direction. Then I think the story I told you was just, back when I had the Sprint magazine, I used to hand distribute these magazines. It was like, how was I going to get these out to students? I used to take a dolly, like this dinky plastic dolly, and go around the campuses and drop off stacks of magazines. I used to have table events and, encouraged. But it was kind of cool though, because I got to see students pick up the magazine and read it. And like, of course, I saw them like flipping to like our Q&A with the sex professor. We had a human sexuality professor that I had and loved at University of Maryland answer these questions, and I could like tell what page they were turning to. That was a very popular segment in the print magazine. But yeah, I really, really hustled, and I did work that I can't imagine doing today in my 30s, because I spent hours, delivering boxes of magazines to dorms and dining halls and handing out magazines myself.
Wow. And I totally resonate with that. The passion, your fire that is lit inside you will not let you quit. And here you are, 9 million readers, which I think is absolutely incredible. And you're doing amazing work, because the college students need all the help they can get to get on the right path. Who do they need to know? What do they need to do? What are the next steps? I'm a very basic person. Give me a step-by-step process of what I need to do and make it happen. Like, if I'm going to buy a house, do I need to talk to Barb at Bank of America? Like, who do I need to talk? Like, what realtor do I need? What steps? Like, I can't just, if you do it this way, it should work. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, I need steps. I need like step-by-step checklist. Like, that's just me.
Yeah.
And so these the readers, the students, everybody that you're serving, I think is going to have a lot to have when your book comes out, Find Your Passion Career. So quickly talk about what we can expect with that, because that is what's going to, I feel like really going to put everything together. Find Your Passion career book.
Well, thank you. Yeah, in the book I break down all the steps that you need to take to connect to a career that you love. Or I say that you like, and dare I say possibly even love. Because not everyone's
Perfect.
like, I need to love my career. But I do think that you should like your career. And I do think, like I said, there's a ripple effect when you do something that you really enjoy. You get in the zone, you produce greater work, and you make a greater impact in the world. And that's really, at the end of the day, like the greater goal here. If we were all doing something that we liked and loved, what the world would look like. Well, so through the book, I walk through 7 steps, which are, identifying your passion. And that's really within you. It's unlocking what is already there. So reflecting on your interests, your strengths, your values. And then the next step is research, which I know sounds really dirty, but did you know that there are over 40 million companies with under 50 employees? I'm sorry, 14 million companies with under 50 employees.
Wow.
So when you ask someone, especially a young person, what are some companies you think would be cool to work for, or companies that you could see yourself working for one day? They're often going to name companies that have at least 100, if not more, employees, because these are brand recognizable companies. They're the 1%ers, right? And so therefore they're very competitive. Yep. And oftentimes you have to be very far along in your career journey. Of course, you can graduate and you can work for Facebook. Of course, you can graduate and you can work for Google. That's just not going to be the case for everyone, though. And so I want to help all those students that, they do get that rejection from that 1% company. I want them to let them know that that's okay. They need to keep researching what else is out there. And there are so many other companies out there.
Yeah, I remember you saying that before when we initially talked. Like, don't stop just because Apple or IBM or Google, like the top one, everybody's going for them. It's very competitive going for them. But then there are companies that people don't even know about that are making things every day, that are creating a great impact every day. There's a lot of great companies, startups, whatever, in Silicon Valley that are doing amazing things. And, I mean, Uber was a couple of people, at one point, who's in the company, the owners, whatever. And now it's like huge because of, obviously the drivers, everything. But there could be a company with 7 people in it that you're like, oh my God, I love your mission. Because what I remember reading just a couple weeks ago, what I remember reading was a lot of times the college kid, I don't know if you've seen this, there was a report that came out from the Business Journal. I love the Business Journal. And it talked about that not even the millennials, it's like generation like X or Z or whoever's like 20 and 21 years old right now. So basically this group, this demographic, what they care about the most is the social responsibility of the company. Do they donate to charity? Do they have an economic responsibility that they care about? Do they have a company culture or a mission or a purpose that I can, yes, hang my hat on, but also they believe in fighting child hunger or something like that. So they have charities and like, what is their social and economic responsibility? And so I saw that they will want to work at a place that believes in the same things that they believe in.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up because that's connecting your values to an organization. And it is so important if you know that the work that you're doing connects to a greater mission and it's something you're passionate about. So when you go in for the interview, like let's say you're super qualified and there's another person that's super qualified, but you care so deeply about their mission, that makes all the difference. I love to tell people about an old editor-in-chief at College Magazine. His name's Brian. He was very passionate about, helping. He was passionate about helping others, really, and also, making an impact in the world. But he's also a really great writer. As I said, he was the editor-in-chief of College Magazine. He ended up working, and he loved sports. I want to bring that up as well. And a lot of people will be like, oh, he probably ended up being like a sports journalist or worked for ESPN. And I'm like, that's not competitive. So he ended up working at an organization that I had never heard of called Peace Players. And I thought it was so interesting. I ended up looking into it, and it's an organization that connects children from warring communities, so from countries that are warring, through the game of basketball. These kids show up on day one, and they're like, I'm not playing basketball with that kid. And by the end of the camp, they are high-fiving, and they are creating peace. And that is such a miraculous, mission and an organization that you may not have heard about that exists. There's so many opportunities out there that you could connect your values to and connect your strengths and talents to as well. So Brian ended up, writing grant proposals and actually getting to be pretty entrepreneurial within the organization and helping them grow because they were so small. So he could really make an impact there. So he was able to add that value that he had to offer while also connecting to the greater mission. So,
I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. I believe that everything that you do needs to have a movement, a mission. There's a lot of self-serving people, and it's exhausting to have conversations with them because you want to give, and they're willing to take. They're definitely willing to take, but man, it is just so exhausting. I have conversations with people, and they're like, "What do you do for me? What do you do for me?" I'm like, that's great, and I want to do that for you, and let me do that. But at the same time, let's do a collaboration. Let's do it and I like personally the missions that people are out, like yours. Like I love even though I might say one or this, whatever, I might think this one thing about college and this, and I'm glad we're having this conversation. But the mission that you're on just means more to me than a belief or the whatever. As long as it's helping people, that's my ultimate value is who's being impacted and who can I help today. That's what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like if you can get someone to start thinking more intentionally about their career, their lives will change, and they will change other lives. And so, just real quick to get back to like the what they'll get in the book and like kind of like the steps, because I talked about identifying your passion and doing that research. It doesn't just stop there. Like I said, I don't believe in like just the secret. I do think you need to actually set a vision for your career. Right. So it's not the intentional career, you start getting intentional and suddenly you're in your dream job overnight. It's a long-term plan. It's a journey. And then from there, you need to take action, right? Building those experiences, getting those internships, volunteering, side hustling, right? Which I know you're very familiar with as an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And then making those connections, right? So being courageous, hitting the send button if you're going to connect with someone at Blizzard Entertainment, for example, and find those mentors. Building your personal brand. I walk through all the different ways you can build your personal brand that work for you and for what you want to do. So not everyone's like, hey, I want to have, a portfolio of my photos, or hey, I want to have an Instagram, but they may need to have a website or a LinkedIn so they can start representing what it is that they're passionate about. And then from there, it's really speaking their passion through storytelling. So how do you present yourself? And that's really where the doors open, because when you speak your passion, that's what doors open. That's when you get the career that you are passionate about, that you love, that's fulfilling.
Yeah, nailed it. That's what, to me, that's what means the most. Like, I don't spend almost 20 years in the military because it was something I just felt like doing one day. you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of people that do 4 years and get out, or maybe they do up to 10 years. And it's one of those things that it's like, man, I'm about to be over 10, like, I don't know, because then when you're like 14 or 15 years, you're like, might as well go all the way. The last 5 years, kind of.
Sorry. I interviewed someone that spent 10 years in the military and then decided and in dentistry and decided for a complete career change. But then he had to start at the beginning. But he had identified that he was passionate about, it was a long lost passion for art. And so he said, I'm going to start at the very beginning. He went to art and design school, got internships that paid him very little and worked his way up in ad agencies doing graphic design work. And today he's, a top person at Intuit, developing the brand for things that we use, that millions of people use, like TurboTax and Mint. And he gets to create that brand experience, and it's something that he's passionate about. He makes, figuring out your taxes fun.
Right. Man, that's awesome. Well, it gives me hope, that when my when it's all said and done, the military career is over, that I have something to fall back on, which is why I've done and built so many different businesses and companies and different things. And, just to make sure, like, I might as well make all those mistakes now. I'll make all those mistakes now while I have like a safety net, income, whatever. I could just, make all the mistakes now and get it all out of my system. That way, like right now, what I'm doing with the speaking and coaching and the podcast and all, like this is it. Like, this is the thing, and then, launching everything else that I've launched, like, this is it. This is my thing, and so I got to be good at this thing, because when that net's gone, it's like sink or swim, baby. That's it. You're done. You mess up, you may not come back, so that's why I do what I do. I love entrepreneurship. I love building and creating and monetizing and like the whole everything, and I'm sure, that moment that you were, handing out magazines, slinging magazines, that wasn't your best defining moment, but you look back and you're like, look, it had to be done. And there's some ugliness to what we do that, look, it's got to be done. Freezing out there in the cold, it has to be done. Right?
Yeah, I don't think that there's any job where you're like 100%. I love everything I do here, right? We all have to answer email. We all have to have meetings and do some of the menial work, right? That, yeah, like you said, has to get done, right? If I want to write a book, I had to write. For me, my goal was 1,000 words a day, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you write a 60,000 word book. You write 1,000 words every day. I want to say to you, it's clear to me when you speak about what you do that you ooze with passion, like just the way you light up, the energy in your voice behind what you do. Like, what does it feel like for you to be living and doing your passion?
I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't be doing anything else.
That's what we should all say. Imagine if we were all saying that.
Oh, it'd be amazing. So we got about 2 minutes left, and what I want to do is I want to have you give the listeners a nugget of knowledge that will motivate, transcend, and inspire someone to take action today.
Just a nugget? Just one nugget? That's a lot of pressure.
All right.
Of course, I want to encourage you to check out my site, findyourpassioncareer.com, because there I have a worksheet, which is the 5 steps to unlocking your passion. I do think that's the first step. If you've already identified what it is that you're passionate about, my nugget for you is to reach out to one person a day. One person a day that's in your desired field, and connect with them. Ask them for 15 minutes of their time. Start making these connections today, because that's what it's all about. Really, it's making these connections, and that's how you're going to start building a more intentional career and doing the thing that you love.
Love it. And I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. Reach out to one person a day and trade value. I love it. I love it.
If you're looking for more inspiration, of course, I'd love for you to listen to my podcast. I interview
I was just going to say the same thing.
I interview people that, are living in their passion careers and how they went on their journey. So I hope that you can check it out and be inspired. And I'd love to hear what you think. Stay in touch.
Absolutely. Amanda, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on Life Transformation Radio. It has meant the world to me.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for having me. I mean, you've allowed me to talk about my passion. I could do it all day, right? So this is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Life Transformation Radio listeners, an amazing guest in a demographic that really we need to take note of. The moves that she has made, the passion that she has for what she does just is all over this episode and in everything that she touches. Connect with her on Instagram, Facebook, and her Facebook community, Passion Career. Get the book as soon as it's released. Find Your Passion Career and subscribe to her show, her podcast on Apple and Spotify. Find Your Passion Career. And with that, I leave you with this. Live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out the core values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call that living your brand.